Good morning, everyone. We're going to give everyone a minute or two to join us, but thank you so much for being here today. Good morning. I see many familiar faces in our attendees. It's wonderful to see you today for Selectman Moan of Thomaston and Mayor Caggiano of Bristol. Thank you to the broader members of the community who are here with us. Welcome, welcome. We're going to begin in about 1 minute. All righty. Hello, everyone, and welcome to our community check-in for the Naugatuck+Valley Regional Plan of Conservation and Development. We're thrilled to have you all here today. My name is Savannah Nicole Vielba, and I will be your host and presenter for this community check-in. We have an exciting and informative presentation lined up for you, so we appreciate you taking the time to join us. Before we get started, I'd like to go over a few housekeeping items to help you get the most out of today's session. Firstly, we encourage you to engage with us and ask questions throughout the webinar. To do this, please use the Q&A tool, which you can find at the bottom of your Zoom window. If you hover your mouse over the bottom of your screen, you should see a toolbar appear with a Q&A button. Click on that, and a box will pop up where you can type in your questions. Our team will be monitoring the Q&A throughout the presentation. We will discuss how we will address your questions at the end of the session. Additionally, if you see a question someone else has asked and you think it is important, you can upvote it by clicking the thumbs up icon next to that question. Please also note that this session is being recorded. We will send out a link of the recording after the webinar so you can re-watch it at your convenience or share it with your colleagues or community members who couldn't make it today. Lastly, if you experience any technical issues, please use the chat feature to let us know, and our support team will assist you as quickly as possible. Thank you again for joining us. Before we begin, we want to learn more about you. Please take a moment to fill out our first question that will give us an idea about who is at the virtual table with us today. The second question is about what community you would associate yourself with. It can be where you live, where you work, the community that your job serves. However you interpret the question works for our purposes today. So this is my first time using the polls and quizzes, and I can't see the results from my end.
I can see, so it looks like we've got about 66% of everyone close to answering that first question. And then about 86% answered that second question.
What are we seeing? Residents? Are we seeing representatives of community-based orgs?
We see we see mostly staff members of organizations that serve the Naugatuck Valley, followed up by representatives of community-based orgs, and then in third, board or commission members of a community. But we pretty much have, people from across the board.
Awesome. And what's representation look like? Are we seeing many from our
Um,
communities, our member
yeah,
municipalities?
pretty spread throughout our member municipalities for sure.
Awesome. Awesome. So whomever you are and however you got here, you are exactly where we would like you to be. And we thank you for joining us today. Thanks, Desiree.
Of course, I'm going to end the poll.
Perfect. Alrighty, so we have a packed agenda for today. By the end of today's session, you should have a better understanding of who we are, what we are doing to create the Naugatuck Valley Regional Plan of Conservation and Development, and how you can be involved. We want to note from the start that the main point of today's presentation is to inform the public. We are working with our steering committee to create opportunities to engage the broader public in a deeper way, in addition to these check-ins, to keep you up to date about where we are in the planning process. More information will follow about how you can be involved later in the presentation. So we're going to start first with who is the Naugatuck Valley Council of Governments, also known as NVCOG. We're a voluntary association of 19 municipalities in West Central Connecticut. As a state-designated regional planning organization and a federally designated metropolitan planning organization, which is just a fancy way of saying that we support these 19 communities with transportation, environment, brownfields, housing, and land use planning and implementation efforts, to name a few. If you live, work, or play in our region, you have likely interacted with a project that we have assisted with. This could include the Naugatuck River Greenway, road improvements on your local roads, or our staff may have facilitated a planning process in your community. Our board consists of the 19 chief elected officials of the communities that we serve, shown on the map on the right. This can include your mayor, your first selectman or first select woman, or sometimes even your town manager. I'd like to take a moment to clarify who we serve by looking at how we differ from a town, a borough, or a city. As a resident, a property owner, or a business owner, you are your municipality's constituent. Your community will often work very closely with you when making decisions about what policies to implement, how to spend money, or how to govern your community. As a council of governments, your city, your town, or your borough is our constituent. We work with your chief elected official when making decisions about what policies, plans, or programs to conduct at the regional level. While our work often has direct effects on you as residents, property owners, or businesses, our governing structure has your mayor, your first select woman, or your town manager as the representative at our organization. We have a broad audience with us today, as we learned from our first question. So before we talk about the specifics of a regional plan of conservation and development, we want to understand your current level of familiarity with municipal plans of conservation and development. So Desiree is going to prompt us on another question and then help us see what sort of responses we're receiving.
And once I end this poll, I can actually share so you can see what those results look like.
Perfect. What kind of results are we seeing?
They're coming in. We're almost there in terms of full participation. Just give a few more minutes.
Yeah,
Um, but leading the charge is I understand what plans of conservation and development are.
awesome. So there's many in the room who can fact check me today.
I'll do another minute and then I'll end this poll so you can see what we've got.
Perfect. Everyone's welcome. Those who understand what they are, and those who've never heard about it or are seeking to learn more. That's what the goal of today is to help you see the differences and similarities between the municipal plan and the regional plan.
Okay, it looks like we leveled out, so I'm gonna end and share so you guys can see what we've got
Perfect.
here.
Awesome. Wow, we've got a great group here. We've got many who've assisted, many who understand, and about a third on each that are willing to learn more. Okay, so I think that you'll enjoy the presentation today. Okay, so like a municipal plan, a regional plan sets a vision for what a region will look and feel like in 10 years. To do this, we balance the needs of the environment, the economy, and the broader community to ensure a thriving future for all. We engage stakeholders in the planning process so that we can best understand the region's strengths, areas for improvement, opportunities, and challenges. And when we are complete, the plan will establish recommendations on how to achieve the vision with implementable strategies, policies, and programs. There are key differences between a regional plan of conservation and development and a municipal plan of conservation and development. The largest difference is the geographic focus. While a municipal plan focuses on your town, your city, or your borough, our plan will focus on our 19-member municipalities. Another difference is that there are certain requirements for your land use boards to use your municipal plan of conservation and development. While our regional plan is used at the local level in specific circumstances, it is advisory. It's only used in an advisory capacity, which is really important for us to stress. Our plan will be adopted by the NVCOG board instead of a planning and zoning commission or a planning commission as required at the local level. We are working with an excellent steering committee that is chaired by Andrew Martelli, the Town of Cheshire's Assistant Town Manager. Our committee includes municipal staff, chief elected officials, and some board and commission representation. The steering committee members were appointed by your chief elected official, and your municipality's representative can be found on our website, which we'll share a link to later. Additional differences are that our plan takes a broader approach to land use than a municipal plan. Our primary focus will be topics that cross municipal boundaries, such as water supply, the economy, housing, and transportation. While these topics are often addressed in a municipal plan, the focus ends at your community's boundary. In a regional plan, we look at how each community system interacts in a broader regional system to seek efficiencies and collaboration across our members when possible. And finally, our plan helps bridge the state's planning goals with our members' current conditions. We believe that the regional plan is the right scale to consider synergies between state and local land use and conservation goals. I'll give an example of how we hope to be this bridge later in our presentation. And I love this picture. I was done by some youth in one of our transportation planning efforts. Okay. Now that we have discussed what a regional plan of conservation and development is, we'll talk about where NVCOG is in the process. We see three phases to our planning process. The first is the regional assessment, the second is the action principle planning, the third is the draft review, and that will lead us to the final Naugatuck Regional Plan of Conservation and Development. We completed the first phase of the planning process in spring of 2025. In this phase, we reviewed local, regional, and state data. We conducted stakeholder engagement, including interviews and a survey. We examined municipal strengths, areas for improvement, opportunities, and threats that face the Naugatuck Valley region. And we established the 5 action principles that will guide the plan. We see the action principles as the broad vision statements that will guide the recommendations of the plan. We hope to be able to say that we have achieved aspects of the action principles at the end of this 10-year planning period. However, we acknowledge that the action principles are ambitious. And at the minimum, we want to be able to say that our members in our region have taken actionable steps to get closer to making each principle a reality in the Naugatuck Valley region. The steering committee adopted our plan's 5 action principles at the July steering committee meeting, and they are as follows. The Naugatuck Valley region promotes sustainable housing development that includes a variety of options to meet the needs of the region. The Naugatuck Valley region facilitates resilient environmental, economic, and social systems to ensure the viability of the region for generations to come. The Naugatuck Valley region prioritizes connectivity across transportation modes to encourage the movement of people and goods and access to services. And now I'm going to tie us back to that connection of how we can be a bridge between state goals and municipal conditions. One of our regional transportation goals is to encourage transit-oriented development along the Waterbury branch line. Planning for connectivity allows us to prioritize the movement of people and goods along the Waterbury branch line in a way that supports its use for both work and play. The recent federal and state investment into the Waterbury branch line offers many opportunities for our municipalities to collaborate with state agencies such as the Department of Transportation, the Department of Housing, and the newly formed Connecticut Municipal Development Authority as they work together as well. When our plan can tie each of our community's municipal efforts to the state's goals for additional housing, activated downtowns, and a robust transportation system, we can plan with our member communities to create and support those transit-oriented communities. So our fourth action principle, the Naugatuck Valley region invests in infrastructure to ensure the region's competitive future. And our final is that the Naugatuck Valley region recognizes its downtowns and main streets as places of culture, community, and commerce. We will begin phase 2 of the planning process in fall of 2025. As mentioned in the beginning of the presentation, we are working with the steering committee to create additional engagement opportunities for the broader public. The check-ins will always be primarily about informing you, but we hope to have additional opportunities where you'll be able to assist in shaping the plan. Phase 2 is the main planning phase of this process. We will examine those action principles that we just shared with you from a state, a regional, and a municipal lens. This will establish the strategies and the metrics we use to determine how successful we've been in achieving an action principle. Once we are done with the action principle planning, we will review and finalize the draft plan. This review is likely to begin in summer of 2026. We will work to be able to ground truth and prioritize the planning work that gets done in phase 2 to ensure that all member municipalities feel represented across the action principles. And finally, our goal is to have the full draft, including the public notice period and adoption, in fall of 2026. As you can see, while we have done a lot of work, we have a very long way to go. And until we finalize those additional engagement opportunities, we wanted to offer you 3 ways that you can be involved now. The first is that you can stay up to date by visiting the plan's webpage. We update the site with minutes, executive summaries, and work products of the steering committee. There is a ton of information already on the website, including the results from our stakeholder interviews and survey, which were very interesting and I hope you check out. You can scan the QR code on the slide to access the website. We'll also drop the link to the plan's webpage in the chat. The second way you can be involved is you can email us questions, comments, or feedback. At this email we have created for the plan. We have this email on that web page. We send it out on the flyers. We have it here today. It really is an opportunity and an open communication line between you and the planning process. So please feel free to give us suggestions or your ideas on how we might be able to engage the broader community in the planning process. We check this email often and share what we receive in it with our steering committee. And finally, please keep an eye out for the memo with the answers to the questions we received during today's check-in. Since we're working on this plan with the steering committee, we intend to take your questions back to them for review and response. The steering committee will meet in September, so after that meeting, we'll email attendees the memo as well as post it to our website. We thank you kindly for your time today and hope to see you at a future check-in or community engagement event. So this is a way that you can also stay connected and contact us as an organization. I'm going to just check the chat to see what we're receiving. We have some good mornings and welcomes. So substantive questions, I see one from Commissioner Jennings and Thomaston. I see one from Valeria. We will take these questions and bring them back to you in September. Trayvon, thank you everyone. So I want to give you a few more moments if people are still typing questions into the chat. But before you leave today, we're just going to prompt you with a brief questionnaire about today's content. It's going to help us tailor our future check-ins to ensure that they are valuable to all. Again, these are meant to be short, 30-minute at the max check-ins where we inform all those who are interested about the broader planning process. So thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you. So those post questions will you'll be prompted with them once you end this session. So once you leave our meeting today, you'll get those followed.
Awesome. Thank you for joining us. I think we'll end early, which is always better than late. I hope everyone stays cool today.